So welcome back to the next organ system in Kolumbalivia. It is the respiratory system we will be discussing here in the particular presentation. Okay. The respiratory system is mainly pulmonary in nature, and the respiratory system includes the respiratory tract, the major organs of being lungs, and supporting organs the air sacs. Okay. So the respiratory tract include the nostrils, the nasal sac, the glottis, the opening, the larynx, then the trachea and the syrinx. Okay. The major organ, the lungs, and supporting organs, the air sac. All these are air sacs. Okay. So these are the structures which actually take up the process of respiration. Okay. Now, the external nostrils are a pair of slit-like oblique aperture occurring at the base of the upper beak and are overlapped by the seal. I hope we remember the morphological features when we discussed the external nostrils are very close to the seal and on the upper beak. Okay, and the external nostrils open into a short nasal sac that remain communicated to the pharynx by internal nostrils. Okay, a median slit-like glottis lies behind at the base of the tongue and opens into the trachea. So at the anterior end of the trachea is present an expanded chamber known as larynx, and the larynx is expanded, which occurs at the chamber, which occurs at the anteriormost margin of trachea, and is greatly reduced in birds. Okay, larynx in other vertebrates we can see it is mainly meant for the voice production, isn't it? But here it is the sound production is taken up by completely, or vocal organ is a completely different structure. It is the syrinx. Okay, so actually the larynx doesn't have any role in the vocalization or sound production. Okay, and larynx, it is supported by a triangular cricoid cartilage formed of 4 pieces, 2 of which lie above, and they are known as procricoids, present only in some birds. And the larynx also has a pair of partly ossified curved arytenoid cartilages. This cricoid cartilage and arytenoid cartilage, it is almost what we have, what you may have studied in the humans, the cricoid and the arytenoid. The name, the nomenclature is the same. Okay, the thyroid cartilage, it is found in mammals. It is absent in birds. So we have only two sets of cartilages that support the laryngeal region. That is the cricoid cartilage and the arytenoid cartilages. Okay, there are 4 pieces. A triangular cricoid cartilage formed of 4 pieces and a pair of arytenoid cartilages. Okay, which is semicircular in fact. So these are the different what you call structures that support the larynx. There are no vocal cords, which are the characteristic. Actually, in the case of mammals, they do have a characteristic vocal cords in the larynx, but it is completely absent in the case of birds. And larynx opens into a long trachea. Now, the trachea, it is long, cylindrical. You can see here, right? It is long, cylindrical, and flexible tube running backward through the neck, and it occurs beneath the esophagus. That is, it is the trachea, it runs beneath the esophagus and is displaced to the left in the middle region by the crop. On entering the thoracic cavity, it expands to form the syrinx. Okay, and then it divides into 2 bronchi. So this is the trachea, and in the what you call thoracic cavity, it forms the syrinx and divides into 2. Okay, the bronchi, and each bronchus enters the lungs. The wall of the tracheal as well as the bronchial tubes are supported by a series of closely set rings, and all the tracheal and the first bronchial rings are bony in nature. It is made up of bone, and it completely surrounds the tube. While the bronchial rings below that, it is actually incomplete medially, and it is cartilaginous nature. Because they are all membranous tubes, it needs support, and the support is provided by bony and or cartilaginous rings or semicircular cartilaginous structures. Okay, so the ones which supports the trachea and the first bronchial ring, they are complete circular in fashion, and it is bony in nature, while the rest bronchial rings are semicircular, or you can say it is incomplete and it is cartilaginous. Okay. Now coming to the syrinx, it is a vocal organ found only in the birds, and it is present at the junction of the trachea and the paired bronchi. Expanded chamber, it is also referred as tympanum. The wall of syrinx, it is supported by last 3 or 4 tracheal rings and first half rings of the 2 bronchi. Its inner mucous membrane forms a cushion-like thickening on each side, and at the junction of bronchi, a bar of cartilage known as speculus extends dorsoventrally and supports an inconspicuous fold of mucous membrane, which is known as the membrana semilunaris. Okay, you can see when you take a section of the syrinx, it will be somewhat like this. Okay, so you have the what you call trachea. Okay, you have the bronchus. Okay, and the left and the right bronchus. Right. The speculus, which we mentioned, it is the cartilage. It is present somewhere here. Okay. Right. This is the speculus. Fine. And so this speculus, it extends dorsoventrally and supports an inconspicuous fold of mucous membrane. And this mucous membrane is what is referred as the semilunar membrane or membrana semilunaris. Okay, so here you can see. So here you have this is the thickening of the wall. Okay, so if this is the speculus, the cartilage, there is yet another membrane. It is the semilunar membrane. Okay, semilunar membrane or membrana semilunaris. You can see here. This is the structure. Okay, this is the semilunar membrane, and this one, it is the speculus, which is the what you call cartilage, which supports this part. Okay, this is the speculus. Clear? Okay, and you can see this is the lumen of the syrinx. Okay, the mucous membrane of inner walls of each bronchus forms internal tympaniform membrane. Okay, it is the inner lining. So here this is the what you call okay, so this is the bronchus. This is one. Okay, this is yet another bronchus. Internal lining, it forms internal lining of the bronchus specifically. It forms the internal tympaniform membrane. Okay, so it is internal tympaniform membrane. Here also you can see the internal tympaniform membrane, the internal lining. Okay, the mucous membrane of the inner wall of each bronchus, right? It is the internal tympaniform membrane, right? And this part here, the membrane, it is known as the external membrane, external tympaniform membrane. Okay, so internal and external tympaniform membrane associated with the outer wall. Now, these tympaniform membranes enclose an interclavicular air sac just beneath the semilunar membrane. When we will be discussing about the air sacs, we will be seeing that it is interclavicular air sac. Okay, the movement of the tympaniform membranes, it is controlled and regulated by a pair of intrinsic syringeal muscles. As we have already mentioned, this is the syringeal region. Okay, so it is having a what you call internal lining. Okay, right. So this is the syringeal region, and here the muscles supports the syringeal wall, right? And this forms the syringeal muscles. Okay, so we saw the bronchus, the speculus, and the semilunar membrane. The inner wall and the external wall, inner wall of the what you call the bronchus, it is supported by the tympaniform membrane, the internal tympaniform membrane, and the external tympaniform membrane. Okay, this is with respect to the bronchus. When we come to see the structure of the walls that make up the syrinx, we can see that they do have support from the syringeal muscles, intrinsic syringeal muscles. So the movement of the tympaniform membranes, it is controlled and regulated by the intrinsic syringeal muscles, okay, which arise from the sides of the trachea and are inserted into the syrinx. Clear? Then they, apart from intrinsic syringeal muscles, they also have sternotracheal muscles. Okay, the sternotracheal muscles arise from the sternum and are inserted into the trachea. So it is a little more towards the anterior part. Okay, sternotracheal muscles. The sound is produced by the vibrations of the semilunar membrane. So this membrane actually vibrates when air is forcibly expelled from the lungs, and it passes through the bronchi and the syrinx. Okay, during that time, during the exhalation process, when air is forcibly expelled out from the lungs, this vibrates the semilunar membrane. Okay, and this actually creates a sound. The pitch of the voice is altered by the sternotracheal muscles and intrinsic syringeal muscles that cause the tension on the semilunar tympaniform membranes, and so the pitch of the sound. The syrinx is absent in the what you call ostriches and all. So if we see, we can see that this is the syrinx. Okay, so we'll see once again. Okay, so we can see, yeah, this is the syrinx. When it is, you can see here it is expanded. Okay, sorry. Okay, so here this is the syringeal region, right? This is the inner membrane I'm drawing. Okay, and the posterior to the syrinx, the respiratory tract divides into two bronchi. So here you can see these two are the bronchus and this is the syringeal region. The syringeal region, the muscle is thickened, right? So this is how it will be. Sorry. Okay, we'll see. So this is the thickened wall. Right? Now, if we see this part, it is supported by muscles. Okay, and these muscles are known as the syringeal muscles because it is in syrinx. They are known as syringeal muscles. Okay, the syringeal muscles, right? And then there is another set of muscles. We can see which color we can use. Okay, here. Somewhere over here it would be in the tracheal region. Okay, and this is actually the sternotracheal muscles that extends between the sternum and the trachea. Okay, it is inserted into the sternotracheal muscles. Okay, that is the difference. It is from the sternum inserted into the trachea. That is the sternotracheal muscles. This is the syringeal muscles, intrinsic syringeal muscles. Okay, it arises from the sides of the trachea and is inserted into the syrinx. Okay, these two muscles do have a very important role in producing the sound. Actually, the controlling the pitch of the sound. Okay, now we have what we have is like this part, the internal membrane. Okay, we can just draw the internal membrane over here. Okay, this internal membrane and this part. Okay, it do have a name. What is it? It is known as the internal tympaniform membrane. This is internal tympaniform membrane. Okay, this is internal tympaniform membrane and this is external tympaniform membrane, just with respect to its position, right? So this is tympaniform membranes, the internal and the external, right? Then on this part they have a semilunar membrane. Okay, this is a semilunar membrane. This semilunar membrane, it is supported by, what do you have? It is the pessulus. It is a cartilage. The pessulus, it is a cartilage. So this is how the structure is, right? Now when air is expelled out during the exhalation process, okay, during the exhalation process, when air is expelled out from the lungs, so the lungs is on this position, so the air is expelled out, okay, in this direction. From this direction, air comes and this vibrates the semilunar membrane. Fine. So sound is created. But the pitch is created by the action of these two muscles. Fine? Okay, thank you.